What's going on, guys? JHoyt back with you today. Don't be alarmed. There's a black screen. There's a reason for that. Although you can read the title and know what today's video is. Or if you want to wait for the surprise, we're doing a franchise mode. Take the black screen off. We're doing it. As you can see on your screen, we're doing the Chicago Blackhawks. So let's kind of go through why I chose the Chicago Blackhawks as our next, franchise mode. So, if you guys remember last year, we did a Seattle attack. Well, I wish I had more time with that series, but we're into the new year. It's 2019. We're in NHL 19. And although Chicago isn't doing the best right now in real life, my goal here is to rebuild the dynasty that was the Chicago Blackhawks. That is my goal for this series, for these episodes. And that's what our goal is here. So, first things first, let's get right into what do we have to work with on this team, in this organization. The assistant coach, don't care about you. All right, so what do we have on our team? So we have the kind of core three kind of stars. Then we have some young guns. And the trade that just happened, a month or two ago, with Strome and Perlini. Okay, so we have some good pieces here. I'm excited. I'll do the lines in a second. On defense, okay, so we have, alright, so we'll just do one of those. Just for now, until we actually fully do the lines. You have to learn how to pronounce some of these names as well. So as far as overall goes, we're not in a bad spot. As far as lines go, it's interesting. So let's do the lines real quick. Let's talk about that. DeBrincat is technically not a center. He actually plays right wing. I want to move Strome up to the second line because that's where I want him to kind of get himself used to playing there. As far as that top line, I kind of want to break that up. Do we want to do... What do we want to do? Let's move Saad down here. Let's kind of move him... Wait, what's... Hold on. Let's go look up their actual lines and see where those lie. So here's what I come up with on our team. So this is close to what it is in real life. However, it's slightly different. So the first line is actually what it is. And Saad, Taves, and Cahoon. I think that's how you pronounce that, hopefully. If not, correct me down in the comment section below. Second line, we got DeBrincat, Strome, and Kane. This one, I think, is what it actually is. It says it's Nisimov there instead of DeBrincat, but I don't think that's actually true. It might be. I don't really know. But, going with the old line mates in what was it, Erie, with these guys. And obviously, Kane on that second line is absolutely crucial. It does show that Strome and Kane are both there. So I'm going to kind of throw DeBrincat there and see how that works out for them. We could also kind of even throw DeBrincat up here on the first line and kind of switch him with Cahoon. But you know what? Let's just kind of try this out to begin with and see where it goes. Third line, we got Perlini, Anisimov, and Kujula. I'm going to go with, is it Kujula? I'm going to guess with Kujula. All right. Fourth line, we got Kunitz, Kruger, and Hayden. Again, don't really know where these guys are going to fit in our team, but that's what the preseason's for. That's what, the kind of the first month or two of the season is for. I did send all the extra guys down. Delia, who's the 64 overall goalie. And then there's an extra defenseman and an extra forward up here. Defense, I don't really even know what to do with these lines. I mean, obviously you have kind of the main two in Keith and Seabrook. But after that, we're kind of lacking, a good second line. So that's kind of on the wish list right now. As for what we're gonna get in the future, I don't know, but I'm gonna have to practice it. Is it Yokiharu? I'm gonna need to brush up on these names, but it actually shows this guy playing with Keith. So I guess let's go with that now, and then it shows this is our second line, and then it shows Dahlstrom with Murphy on the third line. So I guess let's go with this and see how it rolls. I also did notice something that we'll go over in a second. I haven't touched any of the special teams lines, but then our goaltenders, straightforward. Obviously Crawford and net, and Ward backing them up. Nothing scratched right now. In the AHL, We're just going to kind of best lines this. I'm going to go through it here in a second and make sure all the guys that are actually signed are playing. And all the guys that are unsigned are out of the lineup. Hopefully we have enough guys to be in the lineup. I haven't really looked at that too much. But then we have a couple of depth guys. It looks like 2 left-handers and a right-hander. So, also we have Forsland, which is going to be, looks like a decent player. 76 overall, 22 years old. 13 points last year in the NHL. 5 points. All right, so he seems to be pretty decent. But for now, we don't really have the space in the NHL. So, you can come down here, perfect your craft, and then and see what happens. So we got Anton Forsberg. Okay, so we have him and Delia. Scratch. We go. Oh my gosh, we have tons of guys. So we'll have to go through that here in a second. But let's go look at the organization overview, see if there's any guys in the juniors, and see what we have there. And we also can see what our picks are this year. So I guess kind of the only really way to see this is through the trade screen, or we can kind of go back to the view contract. So all right, so I think it's Adam Boquist. I think it is. Yep, Adam Boquist, 8th overall pick, offensive defenseman. So perfect. He apparently has never played anything. But what else do we have in the juniors? So it looks like we have a couple players. So we just went over Boquist, Bedwin. Don't really know. Could be pronounced both of them. So another defenseman, offensive defenseman. Apparently has never played either. And then we also have, it looks like, a right wing. So Mackenzie, I'm not even going to try. It doesn't matter for a couple of years at least. So we have 3 guys in the juniors. So kind of unfortunate that they're in the juniors. But, we'll see them hopefully in the near future. Goaltenders. Kind of already went through this with Delia, and we got 5, so that's good. We got $9 million in cap space, and I'm excited. So I didn't actually go through picks, which is something I wanted to do. But let's go back there, see what we have for picks. I don't want to just do the entire kind of first episode of what do we have, but we'll kind of get through the preseason and see what's happening. So all right, we have our first, we have our second. We don't have our third, but we have an extra 4th, an extra 5th. We don't have our 5th, but we have our 6th, 2 7ths. All right. So I'd love a 3rd round pick, obviously, but not really a priority right now. But definitely our 1st and 2nd round picks are huge. But as for now, I need to go do the settings. I'm going to do the AHL lines and put all the guys that are in, actually on the team, playing, and then we'll get into the preseason and see what our team is made of. So we're back finally after doing all those lines, and I also did the settings, forgot to do that as well. But straightforward lines, we just went through them before we did the AHL lines, but they stayed exactly the same. I did all the special team lines, and it was just absolutely crazy. So I'm excited. Let's get right into the preseason and see what happens here. So we'll go through the preseason in the first month, and then we'll call it good for at least this first episode. But where does preseason start? So I think it's right here. I think that's the last game of the preseason. So salary cap, yep. And also scouting. I know that was a big thing in NHL 18 with the system there. It was a lot easier. Now they change it so you actually have to hire and fire scouts and assign them to certain zones and do that whole, business. However, it takes way too much time. And there's going to be auto-scouted. So we're going to hire and fire our scouts, but they're going to be auto-assigned. So we're not going to touch them at all after they're placed in whatever region they are. So you know what? Hey, it works for me, and it'll be a lot easier, and it'll be a lot less editing, especially. So 5-1 in the preseason. Let's go see who performed. I would guess Patrick Kane's at the top. No, he's not. Brandon Saad is at the top, 13 points, and I think we played, 6 games? But it looks like what probably could be our first line ended up performing pretty well. So let's go to forwards and see. So everyone's kind of performing pretty decent. Hayden, the only one without a point. That's okay. Defense. Okay, so Gustafsson. I'm really interested to see how he plays because he's kind of our secondary power play guy behind Keith. So, like I said, I'm very interested to see what he does. Looks like half of our defensemen didn't bother getting a point, but hey, it's preseason. It also looks like Crawford played all of the games. I kind of wanted to get Ward in at least one of those games, but with the automatic rotations on, it didn't look like that would happen. So, without further ado, preseason's over. We're at 5-1. We had 10 points in the preseason, but it's the preseason, so it doesn't really matter. So it looks like we start the year away on a road trip. We start in Ottawa, then go to St. Louis, and then we're back home and immediately away again. But either way, let's get through the first month. We'll go to the it would be November 5th, and just to kind of get a feel of how our team's gonna be. Like I said, I'm super excited for this. We're trying to rebuild the Dynasty, or I guess kind of maintain it, depending on how they perform here in the franchise mode. We've already stated, there's some kind of opportunities that or not opportunities. We have some spots we can definitely improve, such as our top 4 defense. Kind of getting a solidified second line. Realistically, I didn't really want to play Yokiharu. I think that's how you pronounce it. In the NHL this year. I wanted to put him in the AHL, just let him play, top line, everything down there, play a whole bunch. But I guess we'll see. How is he going to play up here in the NHL? We might end up sending him down to the AHL, bringing up, who's down there, Rudda, bringing up him. But not really the greatest of starts for us, 6-6 and 3, so essentially 6-9 for just total, wins and losses go. AHL team's doing fine down there, 8-3-1. But let's see. No surprise there. We're Patrick Kane, top of the team in points. Get used to seeing that one because I have a feeling that that's going to happen. So quick look at the stats so far this year. Kane's on top. DeBrincat on our second line. Actually, I think both of these guys are on our second line. Saad's on our first with Taves. And Nisimov's doing quite well down there with the two kind of young scorers in Perlini and Kajula. Kahan is on the first line, actually. So, if it kind of continues like this, with kind of this being like our top 6 scoring, we might end up throwing Jonathan Taves on the second line and moving all of our second line guys to the first line, basically swapping our first and second lines. Because Taves is great. Yes, he's the kind of one of the faces of the organization, but he always seems to get a little bit less points than like the top scorers. He's still very good, don't get me wrong, but that might be something we have to look at, upcoming here. But great start so far for the team. Let's go take a quick look at defense. Keith, Yokiharu, hey, same amount of points as Keith. You'll love to see that. Looks like our entire team is going minus, which is probably not why, or probably why we're not winning a whole bunch. And goaltenders are even across the board. Basically, decent stats so far. But you know what? We have a long season ahead of us, and it's still early. The rebuild is just starting, and I'm super excited to get it going. So, guys, that's going to be it for episode 1 of the franchise mode. We're 3-6-1 in the last 10, so not a great start to the year. However, like I just said, a long season ahead, and probably some trades, signings, some rebalancing of lines, whatever it takes to get this dynasty back up and running, we will do. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for episode number 1. If you did enjoy, hit the like button down below if you have not already. Hit the subscribe button. And as always, guys, see you next time.